What is up, and welcome back to Laying the Points with Farley Bets. This is the Week 7 analysis show where I go over every single game on the Week 7 NFL slate. I give out my leans and analysis for every game, and we are off a fantastic night on Thursday Night Football where I went 4-1 in leans, 2-0 in top plays, 0-1 in player props. Old Herbig did not get a sack for me on the Steelers, but big night, +3 units in top plays, and the way that I want to start our weekend. We had the over in that game. That was probably the most assertive cover in that sense. We also leaned Bengals. I took the Bengals in Circa Millions this week as well, so that's nice to see. I've been terrible in Circa Millions. But this is around the time of a year, and I've said it before and I'll say it again because there is a lot of data to back it up, that I really thrive. So it's great to be in week 7. It's great to get the week started that way. My name is Chris R. Farley. I'm a professional NFL sports bettor. I guess I could consider myself a pro NBA bettor too, although I might be scaling back on that a little bit this season. You can follow me at Farley Bets. You can get all of my plays at farleybets.substack.com. I give away a lot of free plays, free insight, but also all my top plays there for paying subscribers. And I'm a 2-time contest winner in Circa Millions the last 3 seasons, or the last 3 years. Still in Survivor and hoping to keep on surviving at this point during the season. It's a tough week. Week 7 is weird. Check out my contest show on Wednesday if you haven't already, about my thoughts. Again, it's about avoiding upsets more than it is picking the right team. And last night was another great example of that. The last few Thursday nights, right? The Rams, the Eagles, and now the Steelers, favorites, losing straight up on Thursday night. Those Thursday night games are weird. Got to watch out for that. But it's about avoiding upsets. We are live with 2 entries in Circa Survivor. Happy to report that as well. Just as a reminder, again, this podcast is for the common Joe or Josephine, you out there who might not have made your bets yet. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. You've had a long week. You have a family. You want to make some extra money. You want to increase your bankroll. You want to bring profit to your wife, to your husband, because you made smart decisions in the things that you bet. This is for you. I won't give away my official plays because that wouldn't be fair to paying subscribers, but I will give my thoughts and leans on every single game so you can glean which way I'm betting or what I'm thinking about every matchup. Before I get to week 7, I do have to say something, and if you want to fast forward through this part, that's fine. That's up to you. I understand. Not everybody wants to hear this kind of thing. But I do want to reference some of my recent tweets that I brought up some political stuff. Because like I said, there's a point in your career, in your existence, where you simply cannot stay quiet about certain things. So I just want to say this. I just want to, for everybody who might have seen my tweets, affected by them, have an opinion about them, or might form an opinion about me because you saw those tweets. I come from an extremely conservative family, Catholic, Irish Catholic, Ukrainian Catholic family. So much so that it's personally identifiable information, so I won't give away too much here, but my middle name is based off of a Republican president. Literally. That's how conservative of a background I come from. You know, I remember voting for Bush. I went into the military at age 18 after 9/11 because I wanted to serve my country. I'm a patriot, right? I love America. I love what it stands for. It's why I served for 4.5 years, 3 different bases, Korea. I was all over the place. And I remain that way. I remain a believer in my country. And I think most people are good people, right? Like 95% of this country, they are good people who believe in what they believe because they think it is the right thing to believe in. That said, if you don't already know, I'll just explain it here quickly. In March, for no reason, as I was a 17-year federal worker, if you combine my military experience, and then I was at the National Institutes of Health for 13 years. For no reason at all, people like me were given a choice to leave their job immediately. I started getting emails out of nowhere, like threatening, assertive emails, just totally off the rails from what we typically experience in a professional work environment. And of course, they were from Elon Musk and Doge, right? Pressuring government employees to make a decision if they want to leave or not. I chose to take the severance and leave because I figured my office would be obliterated. It was. Now it's kind of back. But I'm glad that I left because I wouldn't want to be a part of an administration and a government network um, like we're seeing today. I'm not going to get into a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to argue with anybody about this, okay? I am not liberal. I am not conservative in a true sense, right? I have conservative values about many things. I have liberal values about many things, like gay rights, for example, which is if it's 2025 and you still believe that people aren't born that way, I can't talk to you, you know? And increasingly, I'm starting to see, and maybe this is where you tune out from me. Increasingly, I'm starting to experience in my own family, among friends and acquaintances and colleagues, I'm experiencing a rate of delusion that is extremely alarming, right? There are certain things happening in this country, and they are facts that whether you like, this isn't about Biden, it's not about Obama, it's not about the first Trump presidency, even, right? Regardless of what any other former president or administration has done, what this administration is doing, factually, pushing people to the ground, these ICE raids, intimidating only Democratic cities, pushing and intimidating federal workers just because they disagree with Trump policy, threatening, talking down to military commanders and leaders, my leaders, who I spoke about that before. The generals and leaders in the military are among our nation's best. They have given their life to service in the military, the way that Hegseth and Trump addressed them. The neglect of scientific fact in the environment and in medical sciences. You don't have to believe what you don't want to believe, but certain things are proven facts. Certain things have been unbelievably scrutinized for decades of research. And that's why we are where we're at. And we're not listening to those scientists, to those experts suddenly. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on about the abuses of executive power, about the abuses of political power from this administration. And now leading into this weekend, where I truly believe something will happen that is unfortunate this weekend because of the incendiary remarks being made by Trump and his administration when these protests are about to happen, right? When we know that millions of people will be out there voicing their American right of free speech. Meanwhile, they're lighting the candle. They're inciting violence and hatred in this administration leading up to the protests. It's a dangerous time. It's an alarming time. And I believe as Americans who want to support each other, regardless of race, color, creed, sexual orientation, that we need to stand up against this sort of division. And again, there are people who are going to hear this and be like, but what about Biden? But what about Obama? Okay. I am not comment like I think the Biden administration and so many administrations of the past were very, very flawed. And they did some things that should not have happened for sure. Like I'm not that guy who's going to be like, I loved Biden. Nope. You know why? Because I have a critical mind. I have a good brain. I can see these things holistically and comprehensively. What's happening now is different. And what's happening now is extremely alarming. And in this position that I'm in, which by the way, I don't depend on this for my lifestyle, right? Like I don't give a fuck if I lose followers because of this. Go ahead and unfollow me if you disagree with what I'm saying. That's fine. But in the position I'm in, eventually I have to stand for something. Let's get to week 7. Rams At the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, it kind of is at the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Because we know that Jacksonville loves to play in London. They've been there longer than any other team. Now, Sean McVay has been in London more times than Liam Cohen, and there's some kind of rivalry or like dislike between Liam Cohen and Sean McVay. I don't know what that's all about. I'm not going to look too much into that, but I would lean Jacksonville here, and I would lean to the under. I do not think Puka Nacua is going to play. I think that changes the Rams' offense significantly. I think the Jacksonville defense is still underrated, not being recognized for how good it's been under what's the coordinator's name? The Campanelli, something like that. You know me and names, terrible. Unless it's like a legend, unless it's like a common name we all know. Ugh. Like defensive coordinators across the NFL, I'm not going to be able to tell you all those names. Don't need to. Point is, as Jacksonville, I think, is in a better position here, off a loss. And this is a tough spot for the Rams, road spot. Now they're going to London. And you could look at that as like camaraderie building for the Rams. Sometimes that happens too. But if you're giving me 3 points to the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence tends to play better over there too. I would lean Jacksonville there. And like I said, lean to under 44.5. If you wanted the under in that game, 45.5 is where it was, and that's what you should have taken. But I still lean to the under 44.5. Patriots at the Titans. The battle of which side cares more, although we know that the Patriots are the better team, right? Drake May last week really, really impressed me. That was his best game of the season. Why? Because you're off a huge win against Buffalo on the road. Now you go on the road and you face the New Orleans Saints, who no one cares about the Saints. No one takes them that seriously. And Drake May was the leader. He was stoic. He was even keel. And he sliced and diced the Saints defense. That's what a leader does. That's what a true franchise quarterback does in those situations. I trust Bo Nix. Yeah, right. I trust Drake May in this situation, but I also couldn't take them at 7. They're interesting in a teaser. They're going to be chosen a lot in survivors. And the question is, because we've seen this before, right? We saw Michael Penix Jr. go up to Minnesota and put on a show because there was some kind of extra motivation there going up against J.J. McCarthy, right? Who cares more? Mike Vrabel facing the team that fired him? I would think that matters more than a Titans organization that is completely all over the place wanting to beat their former head coach. Like if the owner or GM doesn't like Vrabel, I don't think that's going to have a big effect in this game. So lean New England, but I can't personally take it. Also lean to the under in that one, like for obvious reasons. Saints at the Bears. I do not think that the Bears are a lock to win this game. I have a position on the Saints that's not against the spread. I'll just say that. This is interesting too. You got to look at the storylines of these games, right? Because it does matter in the end what energy these players are bringing into the game. Caleb Williams famously booted Spencer Rattler out of his position as a college quarterback. I believe he was at Oklahoma at the time. Before Caleb went to USC, I guess. Like, I don't know the whole story, but there's a little bit of a rivalry there too. Spencer Rattler has been impressive. Like, if there's one quarterback who I did not expect to impress me this season, it was Spencer Rattler, and he has. He's played good football, smart decision-making, throwing the ball, like whipping the ball around, like seeing different arm talent from him, which I give Kellen Moore a lot of credit for. Lean Saints, lean to the over, but there is going to be some weather here. So, we're seeing that like it rose a little bit from 45.5 to 46.5. Watch out for the weather, because if this wind really picks up, maybe the under is the right look. But right now I'm looking at Spencer versus Caleb, and I like that for an over. Dolphins at the Cleveland Browns. Well, you talk about weather. Apparently wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour are going to affect this game. If I had the biggest bulls in the world, I would want to take Cleveland here in like Circa Survivor. I'm not going to do that. God, I kind of want to. I'm not going to do that. But this game is made for Cleveland to win. These are the kind of games that Cleveland wins, right? They are at home. We've seen them play far better football at home already this season. The weather is going to be a big part of it. They have the better defense by a mile. The front seven is going to get after Tua. Tua is in the media like apologizing for things he said earlier in the week about a team meeting and players not showing up. Things don't look good for Miami in any regard right now. Things don't look good for Cleveland either. They can't protect Dylan Gabriel. We might see Shedeur Sanders this season. Like, ugh, gross. But it's still a Cleveland game, you know? Like, you don't want to be Miami going into this kind of weather. We know how they perform this in these situations, and it ain't good. Panthers at the Jets. You know, at the start of the week, I was like, I can't take the Jets. I got to bet on it, take the Panthers here. It's just a gross game. All right. And you have to recognize how bad Bryce Young, he's like 1-19 on the road or something. It's bad. The Panthers are not good on the road, but they have won 3 games this season. They're at 500. Now there's some belief in themselves. And if any coach has lost his team, even more than Mike McDaniel, I think it's Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is like he's not going to survive the season. And they're not showing, like, from an executive perspective of what you need to do as a head coach to improve your team, whether it's game management situations or, you know, player performance. Nothing is improving. Everything's getting worse seemingly by the week. So lean Carolina, lean to the under for obvious reasons. I like that Carolina run defense, really showing me something lately. And that total has dropped, though. It's at 45 down to 41.5. So you definitely missed the best number on that one. Still lean to the under. Eagles at the Vikings. This is down from -2.5 to -1 in favor of the road team Eagles, Super Bowl champions, who are now, you know, like red flagging themselves a little bit, right? Because like Jalen Hurts in the pass game is 20, I believe they're 29th in pass yards per game. They're like 27th in yards per carry. This is not a good offense so far. Minnesota is an aggressive defense. You know how I feel about Brian Flores. I made that clear a few weeks ago. I like Brian Flores. He's a good defensive coordinator. He's not consistent enough to be called an elite defensive coordinator, in my opinion. And his defense has variable performances. We've seen that a lot the past 2 seasons. Philadelphia is coming into this game off 2 losses. They should get back Landon Dickerson, one of their best offensive linemen, if not their best, the left tackle. Jalen Carter should be back. Jordan Davis on their defensive line. These are huge additions. I kind of like the Eagles here to answer. So lean Philly. Vegas at Kansas City. Well, an interesting stat that I heard from the Sports Gambling Podcast, which you should check out. I mean, they're so fucking funny and really sharp, actually. They're winning a lot this season. I believe Ryan Kramer pointed out that the Chiefs have lost in these spots as big favorites, I believe, of 10 points or more 3 times, and 2 of those instances were at the hands of the Raiders, who just seem to have something figured out defensively to kind of get into Patrick Mahomes' mind. There's a little, like, I'm a little alarmed that, like, this game just stokes an alarm for me a little bit. I believe Kansas City should blow out the Raiders. Like, they're getting Rashee Rice, but everybody knows about that, right? Everybody knows that they're sitting pretty. And if Pete Carroll is going to have a moment, like, this is Pete Carroll Super Bowl, Geno Smith Super Bowl, it's this game, right? Where they're completely disrespected. So I actually lean Raiders on the spread, but would not be surprised if Kansas City completely blew them out. Like, maybe you can hedge Raiders plus 12 and Kansas City team total. Like, I'm sure it's like 29.5 or something. Maybe that's the way to attack it. But I don't feel confident about the Chiefs in that game. By the way, it's a 1:00 start time, which is kind of weird for Chiefs Raiders. Giants at Denver Broncos. My Giants starting to look better, getting support and love from the market a little bit. Here we saw it tick down to 6.5, but just like that, right back up to 7. And I agree with that as well. Because Denver, while the Giants are riding high and off a big divisional win, this is a letdown spot big time in the sense that New York is on the road, unfamiliar opponent. And the Denver Broncos, who survived on the road and won both of their crazy road games. It's not good that Denver is coming back from London to play this week. Like, that's not ideal. At the same time, they're going to honor Demaryius Thomas in this game. The former wide receiver who was with Peyton Manning during the Super Bowl win. The Super Bowl winning team will be there, which I guess that means Peyton will be there. It's a day of remembrance. It's a Memorial Day for Denver. This is a really, really tough spot, in my opinion, for the New York Giants. Lean Denver. Colts at Chargers. This one's very interesting. Like the total at 48 is more because of the Colts. Like the Colts push up a lot of totals, very efficient offense. Daniel Jones still playing mostly well, although he's starting to become a game manager more. Like you're seeing that. You're seeing the old Daniel Jones come out a little bit. I just still don't think that the Chargers, who are so decimated defensively, um, and questionable offensively for sure, especially in the run game, they're shopping for running backs in free agency at the trade deadline. The Colts are just a healthier, more consistent operation right now. So lean Colts. Commanders at Cowboys. Totals 54.5 or 55 at some sports books. Opened at 52.5. I can't disagree with that. Like the Cowboys are who we know they are, right? They're a terrible defense, an MVP candidate in Dak Prescott, an offense that can put up points in every game. I believe CeeDee Lamb should be back this week. It's still not a sure thing, but he should be. So probably a lot of points in this one. But I do like the Commanders to come out on top. Jaden Daniels in the rain off that loss on Monday Night Football to the Bears. That was a disappointing result, but we've seen the Commanders respond before. A few weeks ago, going to LA and beating up on the Chargers, that was really impressive. I think we're going to see that version of the Commanders this Sunday. Green Bay at Arizona. I think this is a dangerous game for the Packers. The Packers have been kind of sleeping a little bit. They've been flat. Their defense letting teams score, especially in the second half at the end of games. Whether it's, I kind of prefer for the Cardinals if it would be Jacoby Brissett, because I think he's a better leader. He's more stoic. He's taller. He can see the field better. Kyler Murray is not inspiring the team anymore, and I think that's obvious. So, the Cardinals are in a position now of 4 straight losses at home where they really feel like they need this game. Green Bay is just kind of getting by, and that defense that we saw in weeks 1 and 2, since then, the Cowboys put up 40 on them. The Browns came back and won a game. Cincinnati almost came back and won a game. Like Joe Flacco almost came back on that team twice, on that defense twice. I think Arizona is going to put up some points here. I think Arizona is going to compete. Lean Arizona. By the way, Arizona's last 4 losses were by 1, 4, 1, and 3 points. Okay, they don't lose by a lot. So got to lean plus 6.5 to Arizona. Falcons at the 49ers. I think this is a spot to take the 49ers. They should get Brock Purdy and maybe George Kittle back. That'd be awesome. He's trending in the right direction. Probably not Ricky Pearsall. Their defensive players, obviously, other than Bosa and Fred Warner, which is really sad that they're both down. Their 2 best defensive players are down this season. But they still have a lot of talent on defense. Robert Saleh is a great coach. And to me, I saw a lot of fluke in Atlanta's win. Was that Monday night? Yeah, against the Bills, just because it was a lot of Bijan Robinson, big plays, running all over a Bills defense that we know is not very good against the run, which kudos to them for taking advantage of that. I don't think that's going to be the scenario at San Francisco. And if Brock Purdy comes back, I think it's going to juice up and rejuvenate the 49ers. Lean 49ers. Lean to the under in that one, actually. I think both defenses show up. That Atlanta defense is pretty damn good. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit is a 5.5-point favorite. It's up to 6 at some more square books. This is a great spot for the Lions. They're off a loss. They're back in their dome. In front of their home fans. They have averaged 34 points per game the past 3 seasons. They lost to the Bucs, I believe, a season ago, or maybe it was 2023, the last time they met at Detroit. So a little bit of that probably still on their mind. A lot of players from that matchup still there. Dan Campbell answers. Jared Goff answers. The Bucs are now without Emeka Egbuka, which, again, their wide receiver depth is so good, but at this point, maybe starting to affect them a little bit without Mike Evans and now Egbuka. This is just a much better spot for the Lions. Tampa Bay has been fantastic. I love watching Baker and Tampa thrive. They're one of my the teams that I have the most futures on, and it's coming to fruition. But could only lean over, expecting plenty of offense. Could only lean Detroit in that matchup. And I think the final game of the Week 7 slate is the toughest. Houston at Seattle. Um, Seattle's turning out to be a much better operation than I thought. Defensively, they're getting better and better. Great performance last week at Jacksonville, just totally stifled Jacksonville's momentum at home. And Sam Darnold is playing such accurate, good football. Like he's a true franchise quarterback at this point. Minnesota's probably like, damn, we should not have let him go. So I like Seattle, but Houston's off a bye. The issues for Houston have been with their offense and like CJ Stroud maybe learning the new offense and a bad offensive line. But all those things can really heal themselves on a 2-week bye where you can prep and everyone can just be on the same page to gel and get in sync for a big game like this. So, yeah, it's an interconference game. It's not like these two know each other very well, but Houston knows it's a tough spot. Houston's been preparing for it. I actually lean Houston, but it feels weird. And I am completely like, I have nothing on this game and I will not touch it. Also lean to the under for obvious reasons. Most Houston games go under. Most Seattle games have gone under. All right, everybody. Had to do my little rant at the start of this podcast. I'm going to be myself. It's who I am. Take it or leave it. Love this country. Also love sports betting. I love the NFL. I love that we got started very hot in week 7 on Thursday Night Football. What a great start to our week. 2-0 in top plays. To get all my top plays, hit me up at farleybets.substack.com. Follow me at farleybets on X. Until next week with the recap show and thesis statements from week 7. We'll see you then. Hey, let's win some damn money, shall we?